Researching. Researching things online is very important. Very important. Right now we have this. We have a blank slate in Maya and we need to fill it. How do we fill this thing with stuff? Okay? First off, we need to see how things are constructed. You're just relying on me as an instructor to kind of show you things. But, this is where we start making you a smarter student. We need to research the little things here and there. One of the things that I find that there's three types of students. There's the type of students that go out and play video games. They play video games to the point where they start wondering how things tick. They start decompiling video games. They start playing with UDK. They start going in and try to take the game models out and look at them. This is the highest level of learning, okay? And I'm not promoting decompiling commercial video games as a source of profit. I'm promoting it as a source of education. So don't even try to get on my back about, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's unethical. Now, in education, there is no ethics. There's me learning and you worrying about ethics. So that is number one on the top of my list of education is the fact that you go in there, you play them, you research it, you play and decompile games and do all kinds of crazy things. You're the top of your food chain. The next step down is the person that kind of takes classes and they go in there and rely on just the instructor and they download videos and they kind of research things that way. And certainly you have the person that goes through all three of the stages. And I think there's about three stages that I see. That stage, the one that you can go to, let's say, Gnomon and download some videos from Gnomon or Digital Tutors or me or something like that. That's a good stage to be at, but you need to go a little higher sometimes if you really want to get into this business. And the last one is a person that you just decided to do this and you just went out to Borders and you bought a book, okay? And the book has some kind of fancy CD in the back and it has some speech about taking polygons and texturing them, but they don't really show you any methods behind the madness. The problem is I have never met too many people that do all three because all three take a different kind of brain altogether. So I'm just kind of pointing this out to you that there are people out there that have the ability to learn in several different ways. And if you are a person that can do that, you're going to jump to the top of your food chain in no doubt, no time whatsoever. But you got to research things 3 ways from Sunday, okay? Now that I got off my soapbox for a second, what I want to do is show you like this. Things like this. Oh, not that one because that one's dead. I will find a different example here. Here's a good one. We're going to be talking about assets versus walls. Okay? Now, in this picture right here on the interwebs, we have these things, these girders, this catwalk, these gas tanks, these everything. And we're looking at it as what is what? Is this a giant chunk of geometry? How are things laid out? You'd be surprised if you look at a game level that's already constructed on how things are really put into a game. Like this catwalk right here. Okay, this thing is just a model of a catwalk, and what they did is here they have another asset put in, and they put the two together. They're two separate models. They're just resting up against each other, and you'd be surprised that you just run through here. In a game, you don't see what's attached and what's not attached. All you have to know is everything's incredibly low poly, and it runs on about 100% texture. Okay? So even though there's a lot of detail here, it's mostly texture that's driving it. That being said, what we have to do is just make the models, not the textures. Okay? And we're going to get a basic understanding on how to get this started. There's no different rules with these things. There's just the rules I've been showing you so far. So you have all the skills necessary to actually create all the models. It's just I want to show you the difference between what's a model and what's a wall. So here's a model asset right here. Okay, and you can look up these things using game level UDK. UDK is the Unreal Engine. It's it's one of the highest ways of learning because you're just jumping into the engine and actually producing things and bringing it in from Maya right into the engine. You can also look up Unity Game Engine. That's a really nice engine to kind of jump into as a new student. Blender is another one. Blender's really hard though, but as far as the game engine part, I do have some videos on YouTube though. So here, you can see that this is a wall right here, but is it a wall or an asset, or is it a texture? Things that pop off the wall, those are assets. Okay, the walls themselves are flat, and all the assets sit on the walls. So this beam right here is probably a separate asset. This crown molding might be a separate asset. That in the Unreal Engine on Unreal Tournament 3, you'd be surprised. There's millions of assets, tons of them. So much so that I don't even know how you would manage something. So here, this doorway, that's an asset. So do some research on this before we jump into the next lesson. Kind of look around. Look at on Google Images. Play around with that. Play a video game for a second and just kind of look around. Take the time to stop womping things and look at the tables and chairs and stuff like that. Those are all assets. And try to distinguish what's an asset and what's a wall. And then meet me back in the next video when you're done.